Hello friends, Kip Teitsort here with an episode of Chronicles of a Culture Changer from DT4EMS. And in this episode, what I'm going to do is address a question that I've had posed to me quite a few times. And it has to do with where an agency starts to research the issue and decides that they want to have a local police officer come over and train their staff in self-defense. Well, first of all, here's how I'm going to address it. I'm going to say, number one, I am so thankful that your agency has at least researched the subject and is starting to address that the problem actually exists. Because number one, that's the biggest problem that we have across the country, is that most agencies refuse to acknowledge the subject as even being a problem. So now that your agency is at least looking at it, kudos to them. Here's the deal though. When it comes to having a police officer come over and train your staff, I need you to think about it like this. It's actually kind of like trying to apply a round tool to a square problem or a square tool to a round problem, meaning that the average police officer that goes through defensive tactics training in their police academy, defensive tactics is really a play on words, meaning that the officer is actually really training in the mechanics of arrest and control, or subject control, meaning taking a person into custody. This is an act of aggression, moving forward and taking custody of a person. So what we do in medicine, on the other hand, is we operate under consent, meaning unless a person gives us some form of consent, we're not supposed to touch them, regardless of whether it's in the ED or in pre-hospital if you're a firefighter on the EMS scene. So think of custody, and what a police officer does is an act of aggression, and the words defensive tactics for law enforcement is really a play on words, because there's nothing that the average police officer does. Well, I say nothing. There may be one or two moves that they learn in their police academy that's really defensive, because what is their end goal? Their end goal is to take custody of a criminal or a suspected criminal, take them into custody to answer to the charges. Where in medicine, we don't have that. So when you think about it, we are doing two different things. Law enforcement is performing custody, and that's what they train for, is custody, and we offer care. So there are two different things. Well, a police officer has a whole bunch of tools on their belt. If a person doesn't want to rely or go to jail or be taken into custody based upon the empty hand the empty hand techniques at that time. So that poses a whole new question to law enforcement style training, which is, if there were an empty hand technique that were so successful that a police officer could use on a regular basis to take custody of someone, why do police officers have so many other tools on their belt that offer for different and varying levels of resistance or to obtain pain compliance should a person wish to not be taken into custody? Which brings up a whole new point. In medicine, we have to complete a pain scale, don't we? So who is going to consent to pain compliance when you're using some sort of pain compliance technique, a joint manipulation, pressure points, whatever it may be, because a police officer uses pain to overcome a suspect's resistance to being taken into custody. So we have to be careful of that. Well, then your next thing is, well, but maybe we could use their stuff for restraints. Again, who would be, looking for pressure point strikes, whether it be striking in the common peroneal or knee strikes or punches? In medicine, shouldn't we be backing away? And then if we feel that the person is such a danger to themselves, then, we let law enforcement take custody, then we provide our care. So, I need to end it kind of like this, is to go, as a veteran police officer, paramedic, and a martial artist, you can't offer someone a solution to a problem until you've researched what the problem really is. And so while it is a fantastic idea that your agency is researching the training, just be cautious that the police officer that you're using for your training, if that's what you decide to do, is making sure that you're covered in all four areas and writing it or teaching it from a medical perspective. Because again, we may be dealing with the same kind of people on the street, but our roles are completely different in why we're in contact with that person. This is that whole muddying of the waters and that gray area and this loss of neutrality that we keep talking about on our website. And if you get the fact that it's more than just a couple of techniques that you need to fix this problem that we have with the use of force and violence in medicine, meaning we have to have an entire culture change. That culture is all across the board. It's changing the public's perception, it's changing our perception, it's changing the police's perception. We have to change all of these perceptions of what it is our role is in emergency medicine, because we've drifted and gotten into this bad way. So again, why are you training? What is your end goal? And if you're, because look at it, one more thing is to look at it like this. Having a police officer come in and teach us self-defense because they do defensive tactics would be similar to us going to law enforcement or police officers having pre-hospital or ED staff train them in handcuffing because we use soft restraints. Two completely different animals. Guys, we complement each other. Our training should be held to law enforcement standards, but we shouldn't be trying to do law enforcement techniques in medicine. So I hope that doesn't get too far off kilter, but I'm telling you, we address so many of these very similar, same, type of questions in Culture Changer blogs all on our website. We have so many of these that we've addressed in multiple different ways to show you that it all kind of blends together, that it is a culture change that needs to occur, not just some fancy technique. So visit the website. There's tons more information there for you. There's tons of resources. And don't forget, if you believe in what we're trying to do, share some of our posts, tell people we exist, and help us help others. Guys, I'm Teitsort, and this has been a quick episode of Chronicles of a Culture Changer. Thank you so much for your time.